Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edwards here speaking. And I just want to say that you're all very beautiful and attractive. And speaking of powerful and winning, we are having a great discussion about how to thrive and how to survive during Corona season. And we've got businesswoman, entrepreneur, and outsourcing marketing expert, Linh Podetti, with us. How are you today, Lynn?
I am doing extraordinarily well considering what's been happening. Really staying positive, and it's so great to be chatting with you today.
And I've got to say, absolutely, Lynn. And I've got to say, you have been doing such an amazing job of not only cushioning the blow, but surviving and winning during Corona. How can I ask you, how has it affected your business, Lynn, and how are you moving forward with you and your clients?
Okay, yeah, I love talking about this because this is what people need right now, that inspiration, and who else is doing what out there. And so, yeah, let me share with you. So a few weeks ago when it all happened, we thought, okay, we should be free from this because we are an online business. Everything's running remotely, all our team, our structure. So we should be fine. But slowly we started to see the ripple effect of businesses who are affecting our clients, who our clients are then affecting us. So we are seeing that kind of, turnover in clients. And so it's really made us think, okay, instead of going, oh my God, we got to cut our staff or shrinking our business arrangement, how can we focus on solutions? So what we've really done right now is just pivoting to what service can clients still be able to work with us, but in a more flexible way. And and then just changing the roles of our staff who are still with us to focus on where we need help most, which is, reaching out to past clients, past leads, letting them know that, hey, we can help you in any shape and form. How about yourself?
Well, for me, and just being quite honest with the audience and all our viewers out there, there's sort of two parts to our business. About 80 to 90% of our revenue is online. So fortunately, thank God for this one, we're very lucky. The bread and butter and the majority of our business is actually a global online business. So we started that 2 years ago. So we're very lucky to sort of be in the situation. The bit where we've taken honestly damage is that I run live workshops usually every 6 weeks in Sydney.
Yeah.
We just cancelled our next live workshop for obvious, health and safety, and it's directed by the Australian federal government.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, it's been a big change for us because, again, the whole goal of our business is being online leaders, which is what we do. Now we've got no real world workshops or meetups for a long time. So for us, we're now just doubling down on online. So of that extra time we once did in the real world, we're now online, guys. So you're now looking at a full-time online business where I wouldn't have seen months ago.
Yeah. So I think with both of us, we're not completely affected like a retail store or a cafe kind of thing. However, we are getting affected in some sort. And surprisingly, yesterday when I was talking to my accountant, I said, oh, you should be really busy right now because people are needing accounting advice. And I would never even consider cancelling my accountant because I would need you, right? I need you to do my tax deal and all that. But then what was surprising that he said was, well, actually, if my clients go bankrupt or can't or aren't going to exist tomorrow, then it's still trouble for me. And I'm like, that's true. So that means we're all kind of will be affected in some way or another.
One thing I was going to say, and again, this is for a lot of places in the world, America, United Kingdom, and Australia. And again, I'll talk to Australia because I'm obviously closer to Australian issues, being perhaps Australian, like us both. And I was going to say, the Australian government has already released its stimulus package. So I know they've done this in the UK, they've done this in the United States, they've done it in a lot of places across the world, but most governments have released a range of stimulus packages to try and, as I say, cushion the blow to get us all through these crazy periods.
Yeah, I really feel fortunate with that. I mean, seeing what they've really tried to do for business owners, you're like, oh yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, Lynn, we were talking about this before. What is the number one thing you're doing in your business to grow in these times?
Okay. So first of all, as a leader, I really needed to step up. And so, I know everyone is sort of consumed in what's going on with coronavirus and we're all hustling away. I really felt the need to stop what I was doing and actually be in the front face for my staff, and not only for my staff, but for my friends, for my community. And so I normally wouldn't even go on Facebook Live as often, but yet I went out there and I really needed to, because I really think that even if you are strong for yourself, you need others around you to be strong as well, to actually support or work together through this. And so my priority number one was making sure I was positive and staying strong and positive. And then second of all, making people around me positive. And then together with that positivity, then no matter what strategy I gave them, I said, okay, guys, let's just change our roles to sales. Hey guys, let's just do, helping businesses with, I guess smaller packages or ad hoc packages. They were all up for it. It's because their mindset was already shifted to yeah, we can do this together. And so that is kind of my strategy. Yeah.
And on that point, Lynn, and this is the $1 million question that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about you and me. How are you staying positive? How are you personally staying positive with all these impacts and all the 24/7 real and fake news bombardment?
Yeah. So I really believe in personal development, and I got into that journey 10 years ago. And I encourage, if anyone hasn't invested in themselves and their mind, this is the time. I had a wake up call 10 years ago where, I felt my life was just a mess. And so it was my reason why I started to work on my mind all the time, every day, every year. And so I've got all the tools now. And some of the tools include gratitude journal. Every single day since 10 years ago, I've written what I'm grateful for. And because of all the challenges that I've gone through in the past and I've survived them, I've used those stories to inspire me to go, hang on, that was really bad then, and I survived it. And so this is just another battle in life, another challenge, right? And so it's being able to use gratitude as a way to shift your mindset from negative to positive. Then it's using proof that you've succeeded in the past. And those two things really just make you go, I can do it, and there's so much things to be grateful for. Apart from this current, what's happening, every other aspect of my life is going fine. So yeah.
It's funny you say that. And again, speaking to the audience, personally, I'm a Christian, yes. Personally, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I all believe different religions are different ways of worshiping the same creator. And I got to say, I've been praying a lot for everyone. And I got to say, I don't know about you, Lynn, but do you find that praying really helps settles the mind and puts you in that place of abundance?
Yeah, I love that you brought up God, actually, because I'm still a bit shy with God because I'm a new Christian. But totally, I felt as if God came into my life just in time before the coronavirus, because I now have this relationship with him where I feel like every single day I can pray. I can kind of talk to him and go, give me some guidance, because I know he's sort of taken care of me all in my past challenges and experience. And I just didn't kind of have that relationship. But now I have that relationship. I know to go, hey, you've helped me before. Can you help me again? Can you help the world? And pray. Yeah, I'm getting my kids to pray as well. And having faith in God has really made me have that strength, that power, because it's not all up to me. It's really up to him. Even the whole government stimulus package, they're all miracles that I couldn't control, right? They're all things that someone else is doing to help me, and God is doing that.
Gotcha. So God is controlling the Australian government, Scott Morrison, and Scott Morrison had divine intervention and says, I'm going to give Lynn and Edward a stimulus package. I like it. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, I mean, even meeting you is not out of my control. Like, everything happens in life. A lot of things aren't in our control. And sometimes if we just let go of worrying and controlling every situation, you will just, your life turns around. Like the way I met my husband on a YouTube video, like 10 years ago when I said it was a turning point, that was a miracle in itself. Like, how does a person randomly find a video? And then, so that's just an example of some of those things that happened and changed my life. And I just could not put logic to it.
And your husband's a very handsome Australian-Italian guy, isn't he? Very hot guy.
Thank you. I'm glad that you think that way. And how about yourself? So praying every single day, what else are you doing to keep positive? Because your positivity is on another level. I thought I was positive until I met you.
Yeah, well, what happened? I guess it's, and believe me, just on that point, and thank you for saying that, Lynn, believe me, I feel, even though I come across as, and I'm just being honest with everyone in the audience, even though I come across very positive, believe me, I feel a lot of fear. So I feel a lot of fear, and sometimes I've been awake all night just thinking about stuff, right? So I feel a lot of fear and I feel a lot of deep emotions. And to me, the biggest thing that I've learned, I was actually talking about one of my very, very, very wonderful friends from Dubai. He knows who he is, and you know, I won't mention his name, but you know who I'm talking about here, right? One of our great friends from Dubai. We're actually having this conversation yesterday, and we're both staying positive, and it's kind of funny. You know, I'm quite a strong Christian. He's quite a strong Muslim, and we're comparing notes, right? You know, ultimately, we're worshiping the same God, sort of swapping notes, right? Yeah. It's quite funny, right?
Yeah.
And what I really love, and I'll just use, again, I'm no expert on Dubai, for example. So if you're from Dubai, and please add to this, but what my friend was telling me from Dubai was that the government's doing an amazing job. So what the Dubai government basically turned around and said is, yep, if people don't have to pay their loans for 6 months if they don't want to. And if people stop, you're not allowed to kick people out of their apartments if they stop paying their rent.
Wow.
Right? And the government even turned around and said in Dubai, that's a rule of Sheikh Mohammed Al Rashid, that awesome guy, even turned around and said that, no one's going to run out of food. If you run out of food, you let the government know and we'll deliver you food. And I thought,
awesome.
That's what you call the government. And to me, the thing that I've actually been really learning from this experience is, even though I'm ex-government, right, studying how governments react in these times of crisis has been great. So I don't know about you, but I think the Australian government, they're not perfect, but I think Scott Morrison and all have done an amazing job of being on the forefront of dealing with this.
Yeah, I mean, I would not like to have his job right now, right? Even just dealing with your own family or your own company is hard enough. Imagine dealing with the whole country. And so, yeah, I definitely admire his leadership right now, because, yeah, it's just something you've never kind of dealt before.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it, and this is going back to the government, they framed, I know Scott Morrison framed it in two respects. He talks about cushioning the blow, which is obviously the first damage, and then he talks about how to grow outside of it. And I've got to say, what's your advice, Lynn, for businesses to cushion the blow? So if they've taken a blow, what's your advice and tips to people who've taken a really big blow from all this experience?
Yeah, I mean, I really think every business is really different. Now, if you're already was offline and you've never been online, maybe your first priority is to really, how can you still bring that same service and experience to online? You know, what is, I guess, the lowest hanging fruit that's going to be able to turn your income around? This is no time for, I guess, working on strategies and things that are going to become a fruit, you know, in months' time. It's really about the current situation. And it really does mean that if there are certain unnecessary expenses, you would have to cut that out. And, you know, for me, I also thought, okay, how can I pivot my whole team to a role and to a task that is going to bring in the best result right now, right? So it's really about analyzing and auditing where you're at and looking at what is going to bring the highest return on investment. And this is also a time to, I mean, if you're lucky, you have more cash flow and you can survive through this with just pumping in more cash. It also means it's a great time to just invest in learning, in development, and, you know, getting out there, doing more videos of yourself, right? You know, becoming a thought leader and being out there serving the market, because then when this all rides through, then people will remember you as that person that was just helping and giving. And so, yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, it's funny you say that. That last point you made is actually, so big shout out to wonderful Lassie, who's my wonderful wife, who keeps me sane. If it wasn't for her, I would have gone postal long ago. So massive shout out to Lassie. And Lassie and I were actually having this conversation when Corona, because a bit of it, you know, I shouldn't probably say this on camera, but I work very closely with quite a few people from the Australian government. So I find out things before the public finds out. So I should probably say that. I'm probably going to get a lot of, I'm going to get a little trouble for saying this, but in all honesty, I often find out about things just through my government contacts far before they hit the Australian public. So a lot of people said, Ed, how do you know what's going on? Is it because you're really smart? No, because I'm well connected, right? And what we're actually talking about, we knew about a month ago what was going to happen, right? And our decision was, and I love that point that you made, was our goal is to be the adults in the room during this whole crisis. Because what happened was when everyone started panicking, I even had people attacking me on social media. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Like that bad, saying, you know, all these horrible things about me. What was interesting about it is, and it's exactly what you said, and this is what I encourage everyone to do, is this crisis is probably going to last 6 to 12 months, right? That's what the government's been telling me and saying publicly, by the way. the Australian government's been great and very transparent here. And here's the point. You're going to get through this. And so what we're thinking is that when this crisis is over, we want to be remembered as people who took a leadership role. We want to be remembered as the strong adults of the room.
Yeah, totally. I think, and I think if we just have to learn to accept in life there's always going to be challenges, and it's really about not giving up. If you don't give up, then you just have to become very resourceful, and there's always ways to solve a problem. And so I think everyone, especially entrepreneurs, business leaders, this is the time to shine. This is the time to set examples for your people, because if your people can see that you really stood up and really, face fear full on, then there's I'm so excited when this all finishes, because I know my team will just be like this now, because we've seen how we've kind of supported one another, and we've kind of didn't matter what kind of role you were doing before, it's like all hands on deck and helping one another.
Absolutely. And I think it's really good, and I just say this to everyone, and believe me, I feel fear like everyone else is. I've known a few people who've really damaged their credibility in this crisis.
Wow.
And I'm not saying it intentionally. They're great people. However, they bought into the panic around them.
Yeah.
And a few of them accidentally shared fake news, right? That was removed by Facebook. A few of them took the negative path and lashed out at people and lashed out the government instead of taking personal responsibility. So I think that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
I think a few people, and what will happen is, once this crisis is over, people are going to remember that. They're going to remember the children and the adults of the room.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's really important that I face fear as much as you do, but it's really about being sane enough to and put a little bit of caring towards other people. And when I say being resourceful, for example, the whole toilet paper thing happened because someone, people panicked, and other people going, well, if I don't buy more, then I won't have it enough, right? In my mind, I never thought of it like that. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm just going to buy just a little bit enough because I want it's enough for other people. Because if I really ran out of it, I will wash my bum with water. I'm going to use newspaper. I'm going to use whatever it is, right? I'm pretty sure I will be resourceful. I won't die if I had my last kind of toilet roll. So, no matter through this whole thing, I have not panicked buy. Same as with, in business, I just didn't look at the option, hey, well, everyone else is getting rid of their staff, and let's just get rid of my staff and because that's just the norm right now, right? Everyone's cutting out their staff. I really go, no, let's just not buy into what everyone else is doing, buying in what is the best in the long run for the company, until everyone if your team sees that you've tried everything you can, and really work as a team, and they will respect, even ultimately at the end, when you do have to cut down staff, like when you've tried every option, they have so much respect and admiration that they will be knocking your door to come back to work with you later on anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's very good. And it sounds like we're all shilling for the Australian government here. I should be wearing a suit, and we should dress you up as Julie Bishop or something. This is great, But it's true though. I think it's very important that yes, we have to make hard decisions. Again, we've lost a big chunk of our revenue. We can't run our workshops anymore. Mm-hmm. We usually run about 5-6 paid workshops a year. That probably won't happen. In all honesty, they may not happen this year. Okay, they may not. And it's forced us to make very, very quick changes. And this is one of the big things that we've been saying. This is what the government said to me as well, is that the quicker you adapt to the world around you is the more you're going to cushion the blow. Okay. Yeah. So I have a lot of people saying to me, a friend of mine just said it to me before actually, hey Ed, do you think things will ever return to normal? My answer was no, things will never be normal. To me, this is like 9/11. This is a defining world-changing moment. What do you think of that, Lynn?
Oh, totally. But then if it wasn't for the 9/11, we wouldn't have the security, and it was inevitable something bad like that was going to happen, right? And I'm so glad now that we have all this security, and I would think back and go, how did we not have that security before? How did anyone just walk through and do all that, right? It's inevitable. And so I think that's why I'm more, although I'm fearful of like, no, I wouldn't say it's fearful. I'm saying it's uncomfortable. Where it is like...
On that, Lynn, I'm fearful too. Like there's nothing, if I can jump in, there's nothing ashamed about being fearful. I'm fearful.
Yeah. And I think it's more like, I'm more like, if I was to analyze what is it fear or is it uncomfortable? It's more I'm uncomfortable because my faith is much stronger than my fear. That's why I can't even categorize it as fear. But it was more like it's uncomfortable. It's, you know, it's not where I want to be. But I'm so excited as well to see, because there's always that pattern in life where tragedy and then you learn a big lesson and then life just becomes so much better because you've learned something and you've applied something. And so I'm excited to see how this will all turn out, and definitely it won't be the same, but it will be better, and better in a different way. And we're glad that it happened, because even yesterday I just realized how present I was in my life. So yesterday after I finished work, I just played, you know, throughout the day I was already playing with my kids because they're at home. Normally they would be at school, but I, you know, kept them home for health reasons. And then I end up calling all of my girlfriends who I don't normally talk on the phone a lot to, because we normally WhatsApp each other, you know, in the millennial kind of style, we're always messaging. And yet I'm calling them and I'm like, I actually probably haven't called them for, I would say, years. It's like, unless I needed something important, some of them were like, hey, like, what's up, you know?
They're like, Lynn, leave us alone. We don't have any toilet paper.
No, they were actually so grateful. They were like, oh, it's so great that you check in on me. And I'm like, did it take something like this to really wake me up to go pick up that phone, call your friend, you know? And even everyone being more collaborative with each other in business. Yeah. Everyone's like, hey, let's talk more, let's connect more, let's support each other. Let's think of how can we bundle our services or things together to help and adapt to the market. And so I just see this already a blessing in disguise already.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because one thing that I think this has really helped is this whole coronavirus has increased patriotism, because I feel more Australian than I ever have before. It's getting you to, I suppose, in a way, love your country, because at the end of the day, right, I'm absolutely impressed of how much the Australian government has done everything they can, including stimulus, safety precautions and all that, to support the Australian people. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a government shill, which I am slightly, but it's reminded me of how important the nation state in our countries are. Because I don't know about you, but I'm all for globalism and all that, but sometimes globalism goes too far when it tries to erase your own identity. What do you think of that?
Well, the whole thing about Australia is I am definitely grateful, because I was born in Vietnam, and I also I was born in Vietnam. I've lived in Vietnam, you know, for like 9 years. So I really understand and feel the poverty level. And the government, you know, the non-government support. And then I also work with virtual assistants from the Philippines. And I also say to myself, I'm so glad that I'm going through the coronavirus, but in Australia, right? It's like, and even the land is just so wide and open, and we just can't catch it as bad. But apart from that, our government is just so responsive, so caring, and just giving us so much help. And so I really do feel lucky to be Australia. I'm not sure about like patriotic kind of thing, but it's more like grateful for living here rather than right now in Philippines or in Vietnam.
Yeah, and it is true. I just want to say that as a note of sympathy to all of our viewers. Like, and I'm not the only one saying this. If Australia, I think, is one of the safest countries in the world right now. I really do think that is for exactly the reasons you outlined. And I've got to say, Lynn, it's going to be amazing, because just so you know, at the time we're doing this podcast discussion, there's actually some new announcements that are coming out tonight. We may be going into full lockdown, just to let our viewers know that. So by the time you watch,
does that mean like everybody will be locked down? Doesn't matter what kind of business, or if you're in building industry or in manufacturing, it's all closing?
It could be. So by the time people are watching this interview, we might even be in full lockdown or not. We actually find, just so to give the audience some context, we're actually doing this interview almost midday on Friday, the 27th of March, whereas tonight, a bunch of new government announcements are coming out. And
is this an inside information from you?
I'd like to say that. No, it was on TV before, so I'd like to
okay. Okay, and is that what's happened with China and all that, where they actually did a full lockdown before things got better, yeah? Like it wasn't a...
Well, the thing is, the way it works with, virus control is what they do, and this is what the Australian government's doing, is based on they study everything. They study all the data, they know the daily infection rate and all that. So what it is that if the infection keeps growing, they then rightfully become more draconian in the viral control, right? If things start to lighten off, they'll back off, right? And because cases have been increasing in Australia, there will be some, how far it will go tonight, I don't know, but there will be some tightening. But the point I'm making for the sake of our viewers around the world is we've got viewers around the world who are in full lockdown, as in curfews. You can't leave your home, right? Right now, we still have a little bit of freedom left, but I don't know how long that's going to last. And what's your advice to people, even though we haven't experienced the full lockdown yet, what's your advice to people to really survive quarantine and lockdown if that does happen and happen to us?
Yeah, I definitely think being grateful, like listing, maybe writing down a list of 1,000 things you could be grateful for, because your mind will start to think of so many things we take for granted. The one thing we take for granted is that we're alive, that we don't have that virus yet. It might be too late for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're grateful that we still have this comfortable bed and we have electricity, because there's probably other people in the world that's in lockdown that doesn't have those necessities. Yeah. So I really think it's getting our mindset to focus on what we're grateful for is what's going to give us that survival mechanism. Once you have that, then once you're feeling blissful, you then will be a bit more creative and innovative on how you're going to work online and start to work on your business or your future plans. You could then, spend time with your family without feeling stressed out and angry, etc. Right? And so it's really like starting off with shifting, having a better perspective of your life and be grateful.
Wow, I got to say it's incredible, Lynn, and I couldn't agree with you more. I was just going to say, Lynn, what closing thoughts and tips do you have for our wonderful viewers around the world to help them? I suppose several things. Not only cushion the blow, but thrive in these times. What are some of your closing thoughts to help our wonderful and very attractive viewers?
Well, one of the, I guess the thing that you can do if you are having to have cut down staff or et cetera, and you still want to move on with your business, then there are options like having some tasks outsourced here and there and just getting things done, rather than kind of, I guess, you're having your hands tied and go, I'm just going to wait and see what happens and then do nothing. I think the worst thing you can do is do nothing, right? And so if it means like, just really thinking creatively, how can you still work on your business in a more smaller way, in a more flexible way to get through this. And like I said, it's really about making sure you're staying positive and you're helping people around you, reaching out to more network, more people collaborating, because you never know what could be that idea rather than the worst thing is just sort of pitying yourself and going in your corner. It's really like stepping up now, right? It's like the people you don't normally reach out to in business or anything, just talk to them. Maybe you have nothing to share, you don't have anything to help, but you just connecting. You never know what that conversation would turn out into. And then, I can't really dictate how each day is going to go by because every day is a bit different, but I'm sure by doing those everyday positive actions, it's always going to have more chance of positive result than if you're starting to do some negative actions.
I think it's great. I think it goes back to what we were saying before, and the way that you framed it was, I think the way you framed it was being a leader during these times, and my framing was being the adult in the room.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's our takeaway for everybody, right? It's just be that leader, be resourceful, and be that shining light for others. And if everyone was doing that, then we're going to get through this way faster and still have fun throughout the whole journey.
Absolutely. You know what? After this, Lynn, I think we should both run for office, don't you? We sound like it.
It's definitely on my card. I've always thought about doing politics, but, we'll see what happens after my acting career first, right?
There you go. Actually, that makes sense. You could have a full acting career and then you can go for office. You can be...
Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He was like an actor first, and then a politician. And I guess even Donald Trump was a celebrity first, right? And then politician. So you just never know.
I think definitely. I think you have to become an actor. And I just want to say, when you go for a prime minister, I'd be honoured if I could be your running mate. I'll be your VP.
Well, I actually definitely need all your advice because you know a lot more about politics than I do. So you'll be my mentor on how to become a politician, by the way. And just for the sake of our wonderful viewers as well, how can people, if you've listened to this interview and you love what you've heard, how can people get in contact with you, Lynn? Yeah, please don't hesitate to add me as a friend on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you're seeing this video. I know both me and you, Edward, we just love to spread love and positivity. It doesn't matter if we can't do business with you or can't do anything. It's really that we are, to be religious here, is that we are trying to serve God's mission to help each other. So
that's spirit. We're going to talk about God. You know, I love it.
So that is really our mission. We just want to help, you know, through help everybody through this journey. So please reach out, connect, and ask any questions.
It's a pleasure. But I just want to say thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Lynn, for sharing your ideas during these difficult times. And yeah, friends, I just want to say stay tuned. Again, as well, just as a recap, please stay safe and strong. And also, please listen very carefully to your local government announcements. Because again, we're in Australia, you might be in North America or the Middle East or the UK or wherever. Corona conditions vary by state and location. So please make sure you listen to your local authorities so you're staying safe and protected at all times.
Yes, yes. And stay connected and stay strong.